Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 360
360
of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Van Travel. If you are planning to travel here to Central Florida, I definitely recommend them. You know, there's so many changes even now, like some of the resorts were just, let's say,
Extended.
Polynesian. Right, like Disney's Polynesian Resort and Disney's Art of Animation Resort were supposed to open August 12th, and now they have both been changed till later in the year. So there's a lot of delays, there's a lot of changes, and it really helps to have somebody kind of on your side to let you know what's going on and to make those changes for you if the need arises.
And we mentioned Walt Disney World because I guess you really can't go anywhere else right now.
Not
Disneyland and the cruise line is still closed, but you can always make a reservation for later on or next year.
Right, and then also Universal, of course, is open as well, and we're going to head back there in the next couple of weeks.
So this week we're going to start off at Disney's Animal Kingdom. This will be the last of the 4 parks that we're discussing. And starting off with the entrance experience, they have the new updated security system, which is great.
I know. I mean, the way security is now, you just walk through, and there's 2 types right now. One of them is better, and I'm hoping, I guess they'll be putting in all of the parks. But you really just walk through, and
it can tell about if you have a camera or something like that. So
right,
it's really good.
It's amazing.
So the first thing we saw when we were walking through over the bridge was there's Miko and Pocahontas to welcome us, and they have these character cruises that happen around Discovery River, which I thought is very nice.
Right, and also the Discovery River Drummers.
Yes,
Discovery Island Drummers.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. We'll see them later on.
And so they're fantastic as well, and it really, just like going to any of the other parks, the way they do the characters right now, since you can't do meet and greets, you know, it really kind of adds like a vibrancy, I think, to the parks.
And it was a little bit crowded, not necessarily in this shot, but there were areas where it seemed a bit crowded for us. So I think it was the most crowded of the parks, of the 4 parks that you experienced. So you were kind of iffy at first.
Right. I was a little more nervous during this. You know, like the 2 days around it, or the number of days around this visit, you could tell Animal Kingdom was completely empty. And then when we went, it wasn't, you know, crazy full, but
Right.
It was busier than we had been at that point to any park.
So now we'll look at some more of the character cruises. We have Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto here. And these characters here are at all 4 parks currently.
Right. The Mickey and Minnie, I think they're just about all the only characters. Like, it's like Chip and Dale are at a couple of the parks, but not at all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
but Mickey, of
maybe
course, you
several
have
of the
to
parks.
have Mickey.
Right, Mickey and Minnie. And I don't know, there's going to be some kind of a royal orchestra over at Disney's Hollywood Studios today, so I don't know if Mickey and Minnie will be there as well.
Or it could be the Beauty and the Beast characters, which are normally there. We'll find out later.
Right, we'll find out. We're not there today, but we'll see it online.
And here are some characters from Donald's Dino Bash in their special outfits.
Right, there's 2 of the boats, I think, are Donald's Dino Bash themed. So when you go to Dinoland, and we will show Dinoland in a little bit, there's not much going on. It's a little quiet, but the characters are on the cruises.
And these boats are not quiet, by the way. They bring along that music that you would normally hear in the background of Dinoland's Dino Bash. They used to have a dance party and all that, and of course that's not going on. But this particular boat is very loud. You can hear him coming, so you sort of know to get ready if you want to take pictures or record them.
And it really just goes like, at least we've only been there one day and we're going back on Thursday. They just kept coming. So once you saw one boat go by, it wasn't really too long until the next boat went by. So it's really, again, it just sort of gives a lot of atmosphere.
Energy too,
yes.
Especially these guys, as you had mentioned before.
Right, they were great, and you know, they usually would be on Discovery Island and doing a 20-minute set or something.
And sometimes and with characters a lot of the time.
Right. So, you know, you only get to see them for 30 seconds or something, but it's still really cool to be able to. And we saw them a number of times during the day because you're walking around Disney's Animal Kingdom, and all of a sudden here comes, a boat of either characters or the entertainers.
But it's really nice if you get a table or you find a place that's quiet that you like. You could just stand there by the river and just every 10 minutes or so be entertained. It's really nice.
It even felt like more than every 10 minutes. So I'm not even sure, but we'll see them again on Thursday.
So now we'll take a look at Donald Dino Bash. Of course, the Boneyard is closed, and most of the playgrounds are closed currently. I think actually all of them.
Yeah, I think all of them are closed. I can't think of anything open right now. So Dino Land is again quiet. There's not a lot going on here. Chester and Hester's was open, but and then Triceratops Spin. Primeval Whirl is closed forever. That was just announced really recently.
And I actually liked it. I know a lot of people had issues with it. Oh, there's our favorite. There's our favorite dino we've seen him dressed for Halloween and Christmas. So hopefully he'll be doing that this year as well.
I love the dino, like Santasaurus. Primeval Whirl hurt, but there was still something about it that every so often we would go on it.
This really extincts, it says, and that's a very accurate sign because it now is extinct. And they were really wanting us for some reason. The cast members were like, come on in.
Because there was nobody here, I think Restaurantosaurus might have been open, but very little in Dinoland was open. So there wasn't as much reason for guests to come through here, I guess. So, they just wanted...
Triceratops Spin.
Right. Just like Dumbo or the Aladdin ride. It's a cute little ride.
And one thing that I think you didn't remember is and maybe you didn't hear it, but they said we could have stayed on.
I didn't hear that. Or else I would have, because there was no wait, and why not? I like the views.
Everybody had your own Triceratops too.
And I just like the view up here of Dinoland is nice, and you can see it. And I said it was fairly, it was a fairly brisk day, but again, Dinoland, not so much. Around certain other areas of the park it was.
Well, especially here, you felt the emptiness around the games, because usually this is very lively. You have all these game booths open and people throwing the balls and things to try to win prizes, and this whole area was not in operation when we were there.
It was, I actually liked it because it was a little quieter,
That's true.
than some of the other
really
areas
deserted,
of the park
actually.
at this time. And later in the day, we usually arrive in the afternoon, and then the park closed at 6. So let's say we arrived at 1 or 2, and we try to skip the morning crowds of the parks. But I think the last hour or two was pretty good on this day, though.
Now, Finding Nemo the musical was also not running when we were there, and I know it's currently still not running.
Well, they have the equity actors, the union.
So this theater here is where it is now one of the relaxation zones, and you could see plenty of room to spread out and if you need to take off your mask and relax.
And this is really one of the only relaxation zones I would use, because it's outdoors and it's huge. And we still didn't end up using it, but maybe next time.
And of course, Rivers of Light has been announced to be ending for good.
Good. And something else might go there, but it probably will be quite some time.
In Rivers of Light, I know it wasn't a favorite of many. I loved the music, but the show itself wasn't my favorite. So hopefully whatever they bring in will be an improvement.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it. The water screens. It's not like World of Color or something. So I hope that whatever happens there at some point,
it's set up for something great.
It's set up for something, and right now it's a relaxation zone, and I think that's pretty
So there was
great.
only a 10-minute wait here for Expedition Everest, and I ran in first because we weren't sure, and you were concerned about the line. And for me, it moved along really quick, and we're showing this here. At no point did it stop until I got right on to the roller coaster.
And then as we're walking through, and then you came out and said,
oh, come on. And then, of course,
it stopped.
Right. And that happens. Sometimes when it says 10 minutes, it can turn into a little bit longer if they end up doing a cleaning. And, of course, it's good that they're doing a cleaning, but you always have to keep in back of your mind that 10 minutes could turn into 25 minutes.
Or it could be 0 minutes,
right.
And you just
don't
know.
In this case, it was 10 minutes was pretty much.
Like your 10 minutes was 0, and then we stopped, and I'm like, okay, well, I was like, I just want to get off of line because I don't know how long this is going to be. I limit my line time. I limit my indoor time.
Absolutely okay. We all have that comfort level. And here you can see they have plexiglass because it's, you're obviously too close as you're getting onto the roller coaster. You'll see a lot of plexiglass around the parks.
And so I was going to say, if it stops, sometimes guests will sit on the ground and then there's no plexiglass underneath, and that's something that
That's true.
they need to kind of look at, especially in Rise of the Resistance, which does stop fairly often.
And here are a few little clips of the ride. I was lucky. I was able to get the front row, and here we are. Now, I remember when this first opened, when you went over this first little area up on the mountain, you had a mist and a fog here, and then when you went around the corner, there was a bird that would sort of rise and make a noise. You still hear the noise, but you don't really see the bird very often. So every time I go on it, I kind of hope in the back of my mind some of these things will be working.
I thought the bird was there in the last couple of years, though. It feels like it was there. I don't like being in the front row as much because I feel like I'm going to fall off. And that, I mean, that's obviously the point of it, but I kind of like.
Do you enjoy the ride itself?
I do
overall,
like the
though?
ride. Mm-hmm.
And one thing is about the Yeti, later on we'll see as you go by, the Yeti isn't really seeable or moving. Now, recently, because of all this downtime, I found lots and lots of footage of the working Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put that all together and make a nice video kind of showing what this ride looked like on its opening
That
time.
would be nice.
With everything, the fog, the bird, all the full working Yeti effects.
That will be very nice. And I remember when I took Kelly and her mom onto this ride for the only time, because they said never again after it.
Never again.
And I didn't even think about, like, Kelly was so scared. And then her mom is in her 70s and was just like, definitely not.
What a advertisement for the ride. I mean, we're so used to going on this, but it's not a cup of tea for everybody.
No. And, it's not like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or something, which is a little bit much more tame. But I've always enjoyed this ride ever since 2006 when it opened.
Mm-hmm. So after this, we headed over to the Kilimanjaro Safaris, and you can't tell from this picture because I took this after, but it was raining when we were in the queue here, so we weren't sure what was going to happen. You could see a lot more plexiglass here, and also there's plexiglass in the ride vehicle, and you'll see that right after where the driver is, and I think every row has a divider. Not plexiglass, but it's soft plastic.
Right. It's sort of like a vinyl, or, I'm not sure what you would call it. And that's the one thing, like, our driver took off her mask, and we were the next the only guest right behind her.
We still had plastic, but you were probably concerned about.
I was uncomfortable that she took her mask off, and that there was still some room where, there weren't that many people on our vehicle, so I would have liked to have been the second row.
Now, the safari itself was amazing. I mean, right after rain maybe is a great time because we saw all kinds of animals. I'm seeing some giraffe here. We just saw hippos earlier.
It was a really good safari.
And there is an elephant. So, you never know when you're going to have.
They were really active. Most of the animals were really, really active on this safari. And this was towards the end of the day, and you could see there wasn't really anybody in line at that point.
And there was only one other group in our vehicle. Oh, this is one thing I really liked, was the baby flamingo. It's a flamboyance of flamingos, by the way. And you can see they grow into their feet. That foot of a flamingo is huge.
I had no idea that flamingos had feet that big when they're babies.
And you can see in the island there, it's shaped like a hidden Mickey. You can kind of see that as we're going around.
And now we're going to look at the cheetahs. And the cheetahs are either usually just kind of sitting, or a lot of times they're kind of going back and forth, but you can't really see them because often they're in shade.
Yeah, this is like Busch Gardens. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you could really see them good.
And the lion.
Yeah, the lion was walking around, the male lion. And but we saw a little Twitter video clip the other day where they were kind of playing. Mm-hmm. So he's just kind of hanging around, but it was nice to see him up.
Right, and you'll see the lionesses also in a second. There they are. So a really full force on this day.
And I think by now it wasn't even raining anymore, but everything had probably cooled down a little bit for them. So everybody was a little active, or at least awake.
And here is a Pumbaa.
Got the warthogs going on, which a lot of times we haven't seen the warthogs out and about, so it was kind of fun to see them also.
So after this, you really found that the park had cleared out. It was pretty empty.
I felt like Starbucks was sort of where it changed. Like, we went to go get something to eat. I just want to say Starbucks has pretty good sandwiches. So that
like the old picnics they used to offer.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things to do as far as just to get food. This picnic. A number of years ago, but anyway, they have like roast beef and turkey sandwiches, and I can get my Starbucks rewards points.
Excellent.
But it felt like as soon as that was done and we ate, it cleared out by then, which was really nice.
Well, the rain helped.
Yes, the rain helped too, but everything's, it was nice. The last hour was pretty empty.
So we decided to go over to Pandora since it was so empty, and on our way under the bridge we ran across some more characters, and you have Timon there and Rafiki.
And we had not seen them as much as we had some of the other characters. So it was nice to. This is a very close location.
Yeah, this is a great place to go if you want to try to get your picture with the character. If you time it just right, I believe this is the closest you can actually get to them in person. So.
Well, you mean like a selfie,
right?
Kind of
Like
thing
take a selfie with them in the background. They'll be pretty close to you, especially under this bridge here on the way to Pandora.
And I really like the walk from Harambe to Pandora. It's just a beautiful walkway and just usually very quiet.
Well, it did seem like it was very quiet in Pandora, and you're about to see it was listed as a 10-minute wait for a flight of passage. Can't turn that down, so we got in line, and it turned out to be a little bit longer. It ended up to be about a 25-minute wait, and we both think it's probably because they decided to have a cleaning during that time. So just like before, you never know exactly what's going to happen as far as the posted times.
And the funny thing is, when you look at wait times, Navi River Journey often is posting a longer wait than Flight of Passage at this point. Like Navi River Journey could have a 20-minute wait where Flight of Passage says 10. And I just think that's interesting because that is often the case at this point in
And
time.
one of the reasons is, and I know you would like this, is everybody gets their own boat. And if you remember, and I know you do,
Yes.
in the before times, they would load you in with other guests. So sometimes, you had 4 people on each row of the boat, and it was tight. And remember the time the boat broke down and we were stuck for a while? Our legs were falling asleep in that thing.
Well, my foot was really awkward. Like I thought, okay, well, I can handle this for a couple of minutes. And then it was 20 minutes, like, ouch.
Yeah.
And, but I don't know why they didn't do it like Pirates of the Caribbean or something where you get your own row, but it's a bigger boat. But that's the reason we don't even usually ride it anymore.
So on Thursday, when we go back to Animal
Maybe.
Kingdom, as long as it's not too much of a wait, it'd be nice to ride it in a very comfortable way with our own boat.
It just, interesting to me because it used to be like 5 hours for, Flight of Passage and like an hour for Navi River Journey.
Well, back to Flight of Passage, you see here, again, lots of plexiglass. And one of the best parts of this whole experience is you don't have to go to that room where he checks you for the bugs and all of this. You just go right to the pre-ride briefing. So it's much quicker, and everybody stands on a dot. You have your glasses, and then after this, you go on the ride, and it's a great ride as always. And now we're out.
And we were going to get Olympia this
was at the very end of the day, and of course,
Yes.
we didn't give enough time, and it was closed. But we will get the Olympia.
We did give enough time, but it was almost a half-hour wait instead
Correct.
of the
That's
10
right.
minutes.
Right. That's right.
So we thought we gave it enough time, but it was fine. It was just nice to be able to get to hang out in Pandora afterwards for just a bit.
And this was just a few days ago at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It was our second visit, and we had a very nice welcome. You hadn't had a chance to fully see this particular Mickey and Friends character motorcade.
I had seen it from kind of the back. Like I would always, a couple times I caught it with just Mickey. Everything else had already passed by. And the funny thing is, like the previous time I saw like the Pixar one like 3 times, there's no schedule.
Mm-hmm.
For them they have a schedule, but they don't tell everybody else what the schedule is
Right.
because they don't want you to wait for it. Just to avoid the whole crowding thing.
And you could see there's certainly no crowd here on Hollywood Boulevard.
And part of that is because this is probably like this one probably runs 3 or 4 times a day at least. So I think it's about every half hour one of them comes through. So you will see something if you're around.
And our next stop was Toy Story Mania. It was a very short posted wait, I think 10 minutes, but it wasn't 10 minutes.
It was 0.
We pretty much walked right through. And it's the first time in maybe 10 years where I have walked through the normal queue, not the Fast Pass queue, and was able to see Mr. Potato Head. And he was working in full force, so it was so cool to see him again. We've seen him at California Adventure, but having him here and seeing him was very nice for us.
It's been quite some time since I've walked through here too. So it was it's nice to see the queue, and it was nice to be able to walk through it without any wait.
And he is an amazing figure, by the way. And I always thought maybe he talked to you, but in this case, he had a running
Pre-recorded
spiel.
right? I think at Disney's California Adventure they do.
So you really wanted to try to find the Baby Yoda Photopass spot, the magic shot, and look at this. We did find it. It was right there at the entrance if you're coming in from Toy Story Land. And there is Baby Yoda. But you wanted your own picture with just you and Baby
Yes,
Yoda.
I really wanted that.
Right.
Yes.
So after this, we asked, oh, of course, ma'am, no problem. And this is what you found. Not quite the same. Salacious crumb,
And I
turns out.
yeah, I wrote on Twitter, I was like, I thought I was getting Baby Yoda. Like, I was looking forward to my own Baby Yoda
You
picture.
see, I'm going to put this guy in the little Baby Yoda basket for you. That would be even better. I can do that with Photoshop.
I didn't even know what his name was. I just was like, it looks like a shrimp or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that was very funny. But you still got your Baby Yoda.
Yeah, but I kind of still want the picture.
I can crop it.
I know, but I don't like my stance as much
know.
as I like on that one. So next time I will try again.
Another reason to go back. In a few weeks, we'll be back at Hollywood Studios.
About 2 weeks.
Something like that. And also, this is something we didn't see on our first visit. It's Kylo Ren doing his interactive with the Stormtrooper spiels and things. Now, this is what he would normally do. He would walk around Galaxy's Edge, Batuu there, and saying all these expressions. He says the same kind of expressions, but it's all done on stage from a social distanced way.
And the funny thing is, like, during it, all of a sudden it was like, please wash your hands and
Wear a face covering.
And just the way it, they're so serious up there, and then all of a sudden you get this spiel that comes on that is equally serious in a different way.
Well, it's fun, and he's all set, by the way, for the face covering.
Yes.
But it was funny because afterwards, the stormtroopers were like affirmative, that they understood the whole spiel about washing your hands and all of that. So, like you said, that was a funny moment.
I was surprised they did it during and, didn't have it kind of timed for like right afterwards or right beforehand.
And you were able to get a nice selfie type picture, although it wasn't a selfie, you took it. But there he is in the background. And of course, there is one of my favorite masks of all time, Park Candy, the only masks that I will wear.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you do wear now. Those are really good.
Once you wear
nice
the
masks.
Park Candy, you don't go back. And we're not, that's not sponsored or anything. Those are great masks.
And so, right, we have so many other masks now, but we always start with our Park Candy
We will
ones.
donate them all.
No, we're well, maybe we will donate some, but maybe.
So here's the queue for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, one of my favorite rides, and you can see up here in the lighting there's a hidden Mickey.
And the thing about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, it opened just days before the park, like 10 or 11 days before the. Oh, and there's a cast member.
And this is a little different because they don't show the film. The cast member sets it up and says Goofy had a little problem, and you're all standing on dots. So it's a bit different to start off the experience, and then of course you are met with lots of plexiglass here as you wait to get onto the train.
And I was just going to say that the park's closed the 15th, and this opened I think the 4th.
Right.
So it really hasn't been open for very long at all, like less than 2 weeks, and then now. Since the park reopened.
Yeah, and really the whole experience with the film and the train, if you have not seen it, it kind of really is important. So I look forward to the day when they'll be able to show that film and really have the proper experience.
And I'm so glad that we have. And we probably, I don't know how many times we've ridden this, but, it could be a couple dozen times at this point.
The only thing about this is, of course, it replaced one of our favorites, the Great Movie Ride. In a perfect world, you would have both. But to me, this is a worthy replacement. I never get tired of it. We did it twice. We only planned to go once because at the end of the day, there was really no line. So we just ran around and did it one last time. And I could ride it over and over. It's very re-rideable for me.
Right. It just super repeatable. I'm not even a fan of the new Mickey and Minnie style, shorts, but I just think it's a really lot of fun. And there's a lot of references and such inside it. And really just a good time.
So the first time we went to Hollywood Studios, after we left, we realized we never saw Dinosaur Gertie, and we never got over to this area of the park, and we almost didn't do it again. As you could see, it was getting to be dusk over this time.
Yeah, and Echo Lake is so nice, especially during the holidays, and I hope we do have the holidays at the parks. Even they'll be different.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be the same without the Santa hat on Dinosaur Grid.
Oh yeah, and it was not busy over here, so it was nice to get some photos and a little video.
And another nice thing that we were able to do is finally see the Walt Disney Presents film, because the first time we ended up having to walk out, there was a lot of guests without masks and all, and this time we had the theater almost to ourselves, so we got to enjoy the film.
Yeah, just with a few families, and it was surprising because it was raining and almost nobody went in Walt Disney Presents, which was I don't know if it was a surprise for me. I told
No,
you.
you were the one who said, "Oh, that'll be the place to go," and I thought everybody would have thought of that, and it turned out you were very correct. It was wonderful.
And it was nice just to have Walt Disney Presents kind of to ourselves to enjoy.
So anyway, that is another show. Thanks to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
If you're planning to visit, definitely check them out. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they really do keep on top of everything, and there is so much to keep on top of now. I was a travel agent for 7 years. I don't even know how you could do it now, but they manage.
That's right. And I just want to say I am so thankful that we are able to still enjoy these parks. Our friends out in California, they are not able to go to Disneyland, and it's just nice that we have a place to go where we feel safe and we have control. If it seems too crowded, then we don't have to stick around, and I'm just happy that we're able to do it, at least for now, to be able to go to the parks, what we love.
Right. And I mean, in California, Knott's has opened just a little bit as far as their taste of Knott's, so I think it's just nice to be able to get out. The thing is, our social lives pretty much just revolve around the parks, and our friends go to the parks. So it's nice to be able to go out with masks and really feel safe to be able to see people. And we eat outside, and some of our favorite, restaurants are there. So anything that we can do in an outdoor, safe type of manner.
That's right. And this coming week, we'll be going to Epcot. Hopefully the weather will cooperate tomorrow, and then Disney's Animal Kingdom again. Plus, I still have some footage from the Magic Kingdom and Epcot that we can put out for next week for our show, depending on what happens.
Yeah, and I just went to Disney Springs, and Gideon's Bakehouse is being built.
Oh, I can't wait for that to open.
And I love Gideon's, and somebody said to me, but there is a Gideon's already, but it's like in Orlando, and it's like another half hour from, Disney Springs, and just to get a cookie, it's kind of a far drive. It's like going to Sweet by Holly, my favorite cupcake place, and we almost never go there. So now Sweet by Holly should come also to Disney Springs.
Well, just like pizza, Pizza Ponte is much closer than our former favorite pizza place, which is in Tampa.
Right.
So thankful that we're
Eddie
able to go
and
to
Sam's.
Eddie and Sam's is phenomenal, but it's a long drive for us. So it's nice to have Pizza Ponte, which is phenomenal.
And I just picked some pizza up for Pizza Ponte and brought some to my mom also.
So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and stay safe, everybody.
Have a great week and stay safe.